The most powerful person in any room is never the loudest, never the most prepared, never the most confident. It's always the one who needs absolutely nothing from anyone in it. And that person is built, not born. You know that feeling when you walk into a situation and you're already calculating? Already scanning for who's judging you, who's impressed, who's indifferent? You're not even fully in the room yet, and half your brain is managing an invisible audience? Yeah, that's not a personality trait. That's a trap, and almost everyone is caught in it. Here's what I want to show you today. There's this concept from ancient Greece, and I know ancient philosophy, but stay with me, because this one is genuinely different. It's called Ataraxia, and it basically means the complete absence of internal disturbance. Not calm that you force, not calm that you perform. The real thing, a state where you've stopped needing outcomes from other people entirely. The man who lived this was a philosopher and soldier named Pyrrho. And the wild part? He operated under conditions of real, serious danger, the kind that would destroy most people psychologically. And he was the calmest person in every room he ever walked into. Not because of willpower, because of a specific shift in how he related to fear itself. I'm going to walk you through exactly how that shift works, and how to apply it the next time you're in any high-pressure moment. Pyrrho didn't grow up in a library. He grew up near the edge of war. When Alexander the Great marched east across Persia and into India, Pyrrho went with him, not as a general, not as a strategist, but as a philosopher attached to the campaign. He witnessed battles. He watched men break under pressure. He saw entire armies dissolve into chaos the moment things stopped going according to plan. And what he observed was this: the suffering wasn't caused by the battles themselves. It was caused by attachment to outcomes. The soldiers who fell apart weren't always the ones in the most danger. They were the ones who needed victory to feel safe. They were the ones for whom losing meant something unbearable about who they were. Pyrrho began to ask a different question. Not, how do I win? But, what actually happens if I lose? That question is the key to everything. Think about the last time you walked into a high-stakes situation. A job interview, a difficult conversation, a room full of people whose opinion mattered to you. The fear you felt wasn't random noise. It was your brain running a threat simulation. And the threat it was modeling was fundamentally social. What if they reject me? What if I'm exposed? What if I fail in front of them? But here's what Pyrrho's method demands. Don't flinch from that question. Answer it fully. What is the actual worst-case scenario? Not the cinematic version your anxiety sells you, the factual one. You say the wrong thing, you stumble, you don't get the job, they think less of you. And then, what? You go home. You wake up the next morning. The sun rises, the world continues. The bottom of the well, the actual floor of the worst-case scenario, is almost always survivable. More than survivable. It's ordinary. It's just Tuesday. And the moment you follow that fear all the way down to its real floor, not imagined, not catastrophized, but actual, the fear collapses. It has nowhere left to stand. That is ataraxia. Not the absence of awareness, but the absence of disturbance. You see the risk clearly, and it simply doesn't move you the way it used to. Now, most people try to solve this with addition. More preparation, more rehearsal, more armor. Pyrrho's solution moves in the opposite direction entirely. Subtract the need. Don't go into the room trying to get something. Don't enter the conversation trying to win something. The moment you need their approval, their agreement, their admiration, You've made yourself vulnerable to their withholding it. You've handed them a lever that moves you. But take that need off the table entirely. The lever disappears. There is nothing left to pull. This is not indifference. It's a very precise form of liberation. Pyrrho took this to extremes that are, let's be honest, not practical for modern life. Accounts of his life describe a man so indifferent to social pressure that he would simply stop mid-conversation and turn away if the topic stopped mattering to him. He owned almost nothing. He refused to engage in the political games of his time, even when pressured by people far more powerful than himself. You don't need to go that far, but you need the reference point. Because when you understand what total detachment from external validation actually looks like, when you have a concrete human being who lived it, the partial version becomes possible. You realize you've been living at the far opposite end of the spectrum, and somewhere in the middle is a version of you that is genuinely free. Now compare that to your average Tuesday. Constant input, constant metrics. How many people liked this? What do they think of my work? Did he seem impressed? Did she seem annoyed? The modern world is engineered, deliberately, relentlessly, to keep you in a loop of external evaluation. Every notification is a small verdict. Every scroll is a comparison. Every meeting is an implicit performance review. Pyrrho would have recognized this immediately, not as comfort, but as threat. This is precisely the environment that destroys ataraxia. Not through violence, through noise. Constant low-grade stimulation that keeps the part of your brain designed for social threat assessment permanently switched on. The solution isn't to drop your phone in the ocean. It's to begin, systematically, removing the stimuli that have no real power over your life, but feel like they do. Unfollow the accounts that generate comparison. Reduce the input that you can't act on. Create pockets of genuine quiet, not as a wellness practice, but as a tactical decision to stop feeding the threat detection system things that don't actually threaten you. And then, this is the part most people skip, you replace passive consumption with active practice. Pyrrho didn't achieve ataraxia through philosophy alone. He practiced suspension of judgment so relentlessly in so many situations that it stopped being effort and became identity. He didn't try to remain undisturbed. He had simply become the kind of person who was undisturbed. This is the real mechanism. Not willpower, not motivation, not the emotional fuel of wanting it badly enough. Those are weather systems, unpredictable and temporary. What you actually need is the kind of deep practice that overwrites the default, where the new response isn't something you have to remember to do. It's just who you are. Think about how you brush your teeth. You don't motivate yourself to do it. You don't have to summon discipline. You don't think about it at all, really. It's below the level of choice. That is where this practice needs to live. Below choice, below effort, woven into your baseline. The most famous story about Pyrrho involves a sea crossing during a terrible storm. The other passengers were panicking. The crew was losing control. Someone looked over at Pyrrho and asked how he could possibly remain calm. Without much ceremony, he pointed to a small pig on deck, still eating contentedly, completely unbothered by the storm, and said that the wise man aims for exactly that. Not the pig's ignorance, the pig's freedom from the storm's opinion of it. The point is devastating in its simplicity. The storm's ferocity is real. The danger is real. The consequences are real. But the meaning the storm carries, the verdict it threatens to deliver, is a construction, a story your nervous system tells itself. Pyrrho had simply stopped subscribing to the story. The man who needed nothing from that storm could not be broken by it. You've probably seen the opposite. The person in a high-pressure situation who is entirely about outcome, monitoring every reaction, recalibrating every sentence, playing for the verdict. They may be skilled, they may even win sometimes, but they are exhausting to watch, and they are always, in some low-level way, afraid. The person practicing ataraxia is something different. They're present in a way that reads as confidence, but isn't quite that. It's availability, a quality of actually being in the room rather than managing your image of being in the room. And it is, counterintuitively, more powerful than any performance of dominance could ever be. Because it cannot be destabilized. You can't rattle someone who isn't holding anything. Here is the paradox that closes the loop. The ancient Stoics said a version of this. The Pyrrhonists said it more radically. He who needs nothing from the world becomes, in the eyes of the world, the most formidable person in it. Not because of force, because of completeness. There is no point of entry for intimidation. There is no lever. There is no gap where approval used to be. The brutalizing irony of the approval-seeking life is this. The more desperately you need it, the less naturally you attract it. And the moment you genuinely stop needing it, not as a strategy, but as a real structural shift in what you value, is precisely the moment people begin to give it to you freely. This is ataraxia applied, not a trick, not a pose, an actual rewiring of what the room can and cannot take from you. So here is what Pyrrho leaves you with. Not a 10-step framework, not a morning ritual, a single honest interrogation. What exactly are you afraid of losing? Say it out loud. Follow it to its actual end, not the catastrophized version, the real one. Feel how ordinary the floor of it is. And then ask yourself, is the performance worth the cost of always needing the room's verdict? Because the day you can walk into any room, any meeting, any confrontation, any social gauntlet, and genuinely not need a single thing from it, is the day the room stops having power over you. That shift is available to you. It has always been available to you. It was just buried under years of very convincing noise. Pyrrho walked out of a storm, unshaken. You can walk out of Tuesday the same way. The calm you've been looking for was never something to achieve. It's something to stop blocking,